Peace, peace. This is AMB, African Man Born. Welcome to the Culture Speaks. All right, the Culture Speaks. This is a pilot episode, so this is not even the official launch of this podcast, directed strictly towards hip hop culture. All right, and our story. This is a podcast for those who live it. All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
It's for the OGs.
And this is hip hop
for the OGs.
Yes,
AMB
for the young G's.
And all the God hip hop,
for real.
Original
And
G,
representing hip hop.
original God,
Hip hop,
right.
for real. And
Yo,
representing
bring it
hip
back.
hop, for
Yo.
real. Drop it.
I am hip hop culture, predator to vultures. Rappers getting high, spitting lines, I be sober. Never need an entourage, Pano who holds us down when I come around. Massachusetts soul child, say me in your masu. Knowledge will surpass you. Silly rap crews walking shady as they move. I am the God man, I be living in the proof. I be teaching all the youth on the elements they use. Turn the television off. All the lies got us pruned like an old plum. Government is plotting on our sons, and we disrespect our daughters as we living in the slums. And we stay mad, frontin' tough. I be calling devils bluffs, rap vet.
Shout out to everybody in math that's out here. I'm ready.
Peace. Welcome back to the Culture Speaks, a true hip hop podcast for those who live it. So, real quick, right? As I said, this is a pilot episode. So the official launch will be May 18th of the Culture Speaks. All right, and we want to get into rap music. Briefly, we talk about rap music. Rap music comes from one of the four original elements, which you have DJ, graffiti, breaking, and then MCing. MCing is that element that's most widely used, interpreted as rap music, what you call rap music, which I acronymed it, calling it rhythm and poetry, because that's exactly what you're doing, is spitting poetry rhymes in rhythm to breakbeats. And what we celebrate when it comes to rap music is lyricism, delivery, dope beats, you know what I mean, and content. A lot of times we don't even realize that we create amazing content by just feeling it, by just coming out with words. We rhyme over some of the craziest break beats by way of the DJ back in the 70s, you know what I say, even into the 80s when they started putting it into an industry format, where King Tim III with the Fatback Band was rhyming over live instrumentation. And then you had Sugar Hill Gang from New Jersey, who put out kind of the first hip-hop record to date, which was Rapper's Delight, you know what I mean? And then you have others like Curtis Blow, you had Cold Crush Brothers, you had Fantastic Five, you had Funky 4+1, you had Vanessa Sequence, and others that came out, and this became a worldwide phenomenon over the time from the 80s with Run DMC and LL Cool J, and then you go on to Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, KRS-One, and Boogie Down Productions with Scott LaRock, rest in peace. And then you have Slick Rick, and you had you start to get into the consciousness, which the 5% Nation had a huge, heavy influence. 5% Nation is the nation of gods and earths, the brothers and sisters that represent the movement that Clarence 13X, Father Allah, started back in 1969. So when you talk about the spiritual movement of what hip-hop is, we accredit most of that to a lot of what Father Allah has done. And by creating the nations of gods and earth, also known as the Five Percenters, which is a sect of Islam that branched from the Nation of Islam. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about these individuals, they have a huge stake in hip-hop. Also, one of the biggest influences that a lot of people don't talk about is Dr. Malachi Z. York, who is falsely accused of some sex molestation, and he is still fighting for his freedom as long as the Sabian Nation is continuing to fight for his freedom. These are things that we talk about on this show, the truth. All right, so So when we talk about rap music and its influence, there's negative influences and positive influences, but they're all influences. These things influence the world. These songs, these records, going down from the 80s, and then you had the 90s with Dr. Dre. You had NWA, who extended from the end of the 80s all the way into the 90s with Dogg Pound, Snoop Dogg, and Lady of Rage, and all these others. You had Tupac, who was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, influential rapper of all time, along with Notorious B.I.G., who's from Brooklyn, New York. Both of them were born in Brooklyn. Biggie stayed represented Brooklyn. Pac represented the West Coast because he moved to Baltimore and then went to Oakland, and then he moved to LA, where he became a part of Digital Underground. And then when he left them after he got locked, he went to Death Row, and we all know the rest of his story. All right. Then you have other rappers like Nas, Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim. You have Left Eye from TLC. You had Nefertiti. You had Jean Grey. You have Bahamadia. You have Queen Latifah. You had MC Lyte, who actually extended from the 80s. And so did Queen Latifah. She was late 80s, 89, if I believe. And then Moni Love. You had so many different MCs and rappers, and then the game started to convert once around the late 90s, once you had people like Eminem, you had Ludacris, you have Shine, and so many different MCs. It's too many to count. So we're celebrating the existence of rap music on today, which will be actually Rap Music Day, May 3rd. So those who wait for the government to tell you what to celebrate rap music, for those who are truly hip-hop, know that May 3rd would actually be Rap Music Day, not August 2nd. And then when you talk about hip-hop, we're going to get into a whole different subject when it comes to hip-hop on the podcast, which will probably be the subject of the first official episode launched May 18th. So look out for this show. It will be on YouTube at African Man Born Music Media on YouTube, where all the episodes will be. All right. The Culture Speaks, a true podcast for those who live it.